And this is for our community and people that are really interested in getting to know us a little bit more and where we're going. So, to share a little bit more in regards to some of the things that we've been working on, of course, besides the exciting news of listing on MXC, we have been focusing on the token in itself and the utilities on creating what we're able to extend to our community and everyone else. So, with that being said, just a little touch, we decided to leave Bitroo and we're looking at expanding to tier 1 exchanges. So that's something that's in the works for the upcoming towards the end of H2. And to move on to new exciting stuff, as we gear up to relaunch our platform and bring you some of the updated solutions that we'll be offering and how it's going to intertwine with where Web3 is transitioning into. So some of the things I really want to talk about is, as we've kind of been seeing where the commerce space is currently and where NFTs are and where it's really being utilized in the space in itself. So we talk about mass adoption within Web3 and blockchain and where the industry is kind of moving towards. And one of the challenges being in the space for quite some time that I've found is that us as developers, we're developing so quickly that we quite don't understand. We're not allowing everybody else to kind of catch up to the solutions that are provided and really looking at, how do we really onboard the Web2 users into the Web3 space? So some of the challenges in regards to the Web2 space that I've kind of found is that it's quite complicated. There's so many different factors. It's decentralization. When you look at the hashtag words, it's digital currency and digital assets. And for someone that's not as familiar with the space and don't really have that much time to invest into learning about this space, it might be a little too overwhelming. So you just kind of leave it be, right? It's one of the fabs that's going on. NFTs as well are considered, for people that are not very aware of the space. It's they look at as digital pictures and pixelated pictures and things like that. So just kind of taking that step forward where we see a lot of mass adoption in order for this to happen is going to be simplifying it and tying real world utilities, which what it means is that tying current solutions and how we could enhance it into the mix of it. So big transitions happening with the commerce space. So when you look at Louis Vuitton and what Adidas and Nike and Burberry now going into the beauty industry, with L'Oreal and even Ulta entering NFTs and metaverse space, and Starbucks with NFTs, non-fungible tokens, or I like to say, digital memberships or digital valued cards. It's kind of happening. So that brings us to Phygital. What is Phygital? So if you really start thinking about what Phygital is, it's Phygital, which is a mix of real world products, solutions, real world things merged with digital. So Phygital NFTs, it will bridge the real gap. So it's from pixel to reality, right? So when we tie in Phygital products or digital twins, as some might call it, of actual products and solutions, and especially in the commerce space and retail, you look at retail like Louis Vuitton or even Lacoste did, where they created digital twins of sweatshirts, and Gap did that with their hoodies on Gap threads. So having some sort of a digital asset that kind of adds value to your digital version, as well as receiving an actual tangible real world product. So just to kind of tie in, when you look at physical and digital kind of merged together, you're connecting the real world assets with experiences of a digital token or a digital membership or a non-fungible token in itself. So it ends up and it creates endless possibilities and experiences for individuals. So from a business perspective, you're generating this entire form of new revenue models and how I could really engage with the end consumer. For the digital, for the consumers themselves, you have that direct engagement with brands and being able to continuously add value and get and have other utilities, which is like other features and benefits added to being a holder of that. So if you look at it in the actual Web2 space, it's all of your membership cards that you hold. I'm a member at Sephora, I'm a member at Ulta, and what does it really entail? So when you look at utilities, you know, being a member at Sephora for all of the purchases that we do, you're able to earn and use the points to redeem something. So that's kind of what utilities is kind of tied into. So to give you a little bit of background why MBD and we started focusing on the consumer space is that I come from a consumer industry, especially the beauty industry. I was executive for major beauty brands, as well as have been in that space for quite some time, have other businesses as well. So one of the main challenges that I found, that especially creating with digital transformation, as you hear, the transition's happening. And in order to receive mass adoption, we're going to have to transition into how do we engage those consumers to transition over and add real value to some of the solutions that exist. So part of it, as I was speaking to a lot of the executives in the space, some of the challenges that they've seen allowing some of the larger brands to kind of lead the way is, well, how do I know what type of benefit, or how do I get the return on investment, or is this even a space we want to tap into? What are some of the risks that we see? So the main use case that I kind of want to bring up is what Starbucks did with their loyalty model, and what when you look at a lot of the digital assets, what Nike's doing, and Adidas and Lacoste and Louis Vuitton and Tiffany & Co.'s doing is adding more and more real world use cases to it, to see like how do we engage a larger audience and a larger consumer base to it. So the user experience becomes a lot simplified. So to give you an example, and I found this content, by the way, from someone that I follow on LinkedIn. He explained it this way. So imagine, you buy your BMW that you've always wanted, and it comes with some sort of a QR code. So you scan it and a digital version of that car appears. So now you have that ownership proof that gets transferred to your digital wallet. Now that digital wallet proves that you own the car, and then it kind of adds that added solutions to it. So now it creates this full journey of your car, right? So from manufacturing to delivery, and to future services. So Autofax and things that you have here in the States, it sends you all of these notifications, but imagine being able to have that all like transparency on chain, and from when it was manufactured, when it was customized, how many places it has been in and getting in the hands of, etc. So it adds a lot more value than just saying, hey, I'm entering the metaverse, or hey, becomes a digital asset, right? So now you can become part of that community. Example is I have a Jeep. So it's Jeep owners create this huge community, from a wave to everything else. So there are so many groups that you can attend, so many events. Now you take that into a digital transformation, token gated communities with NFT. Now you have more utilities. Hey, by carrying this NFT or membership, I become a member of this, and this is what I can get. And you become part of a larger community than just being very much so in one space alone. So there's a lot more added utilities kind of tied behind it. Some of the things that when you look at the market in itself, some of the transition that's happened to create a bigger mass adoption is a good example is actually Lacoste. So Lacoste initially started with NFTs, and then they created a token gated community with those NFTs, which means that if you're a holder of that NFT, you have access to that community and be able to be part of these virtual events and things that are happening, exclusive launches that you can be a part of. Then what they did was they actually launched a virtual store. So that was the holiday store that they launched, where you could virtually like purchase products and have that full experience. Now, do I think we're completely there, or where you'd wear a VR headset and kind of have that full experience? We're probably not going to see a mass adoption happen there, but we're slowly transitioning into more and more brands utilizing it. Entertainment industry, you look at airlines, there's actually I believe Etihad, there are certain airlines that are utilizing some of these use cases, and they're offering ticketing as well as their loyalty points and airline loyalty models, where now it's fully on chain, as well as not being able to be transferable. So like, for example, soulbound tokens that will be tied into education, as well as having the actual holder be the only person that can utilize it. So there's a lot of various different different types of tokens that could be utilized in the form of NFTs coded in to be able to provide a lot of that. So I kind of want to share a little bit in regards to the space and kind of where we are as well. So to take you to it, so let's look at the Web2 space, right? So you've got Amazon, eBay, Alibaba, and so many more. A good example is Amazon, where they started and kind of where they are currently. So initially it started with just digital books, and then it transitioned into, how do we add more and more value and add more time and accessibility to the end users' lives. So that's when it became, hey, now we could support not only just books. What if we could get these commerce products and solutions in the hands of the consumers much quicker, instead of going to certain websites and purchasing it, and then it takes anywhere between 3 to 5 days to ship it to you. So now even with Prime, you could get it even actually on the same day after it's being ordered. One simplified distribution center, and it gets it to you that much quicker. It also opened up the entry for small business owners to be able to have access to a global reach and be able to sell their products at a more cost-effective, simplified way. So coming from the commerce industry, when it comes to retailers, the cost behind having an actual location, or even launching a digital entire e-commerce and having the distribution, that could tie in quite a bit. So that simplified it for a lot of users. And then marketplace centralized platforms, oversee transactions and tech infrastructure. Well, what really initiated commerce space launch to that space, initially from actually going into the stores to buying it even on websites and having a Web2 experience. So it was user friendly, centralized control. So each location or each company had your information to make it seamless and easier. Scalability, payment integration. Of course, there are other ways to earn. So affiliate programs were tied into marketing solutions. Then it tied into advertisement opportunities and that global reach. But one of the areas is that data collection, right? So a lot of AI solutions are integrated that ties into the marketing aspects. So for example, when you think, hey, is my phone listening to me? Well, it's called intent data. So a lot of what you search and the cookies that you're accepting, it feeds you a lot of recommendation based off of your search history and what you're talking about. So it kind of directs you in a psychological way to recommend, hey, you should buy this, or this is what the trend's going to be. So this is the direction you move into. So that brings us to Web3. Web3 is more of a environment. It's some centralized solution, but decentralization, which means that your data belongs to you. No one really controls the data, and there are other ways to monetize. So you get to monetize, you get to choose your experience that you have, your interactions within this space. So that gave birth to OpenSea. Rarible is a platform. Blur just about a year last year recently launched with more simplified solutions. So when OpenSea came out, they launched NFTs that provided with art, another JPEGs to be able to like create those digital asset value. Then Rarible kind of came out, and they started actually partnering with some of the more exclusive rare art pieces, as well as some of the brands have launched there as well. Blur provided an added solution of being an aggregator, which means it gathered all of the data of all where it's located and provided one simplified platform where people could come in and from purchase, no matter where it is, see all of the trends and what's trending, and have all of that data under one platform. So what did Web3, which is the next internet phase, bring? It's of course emphasizing on decentralized platform and bringing more transparency, and which is a contrast to Web2 centralized control. And it also prioritizes that user control and data ownership that I kind of mentioned. So some of the things that you'll kind of see in Web3 in general are royalty, global reach, of course, NFTs, creating digital twins or digital assets, which not only add value to your actual product or physical product or solution that you have, but it also creates some sort of that added value of that digital asset and ownership, where it creates a new form of revenue or a new form of being able to utilize it in a digital environment. Various categories. Of course, there's customized auctions and bidding, so reselling. Similar, if you compare it to the Web2 space, I'm going to compare it to fashion. You've got platforms like Mercari, Poshmark, those reseller platforms where you don't know if it's authentic or not. If you're going to buy a Louis Vuitton, well, there's so many things you could do, but still be able to have that. It could be a fake or a replica product. So that creates that authenticity, as well as every hand or every user that it's exchanged within, which is the transparency on chain. And of course, and now it's becoming more and more simplified by not worrying about, well, what chain it is and how do I transfer from one wallet to the other. So other various wallet integrations, as well as multi-chain support. So some of the areas that you're going to start seeing, and I'm going to refer to Phygital quite often, which is digital twins. And it's a term used to describe blending of the physical and digital world. So Phygital experiences allows brands to personalize customer interaction and ultimately provides relevant service and solidify more sales. So some of the areas that you'll see Phygital kind of, it's been growing. So fashion, entertainment, of course, real estate, travel, and of course, the food industry. If you actually if you go to whether it's LinkedIn or Indeed or various other job platforms, you'll see a lot of brands actually recruiting for team members for digital transformation. And that is where they're already preparing for what's to come and how they could transition into this space. So how do we get ahead of the curve and be one of the leaders in that space is quite important, which is going to be identifying, well, how do we add value back to be able to onboard these Web2 users into the space, adding not just value to the consumers, but value to the brands and organizations as well. So some of the NFT use cases in retail business I want to kind of share. Well, how does it help any business or organization that want to transition into the space? It boosts brand awareness. So it presents a marketing tool as showcased back in 2021. It was like brands like Taco Bell and Coca-Cola utilized it as well. So it NFTs propelled these brands into global spotlight. So it was like the buzz of this emerging technology. It also builds brand advocates and communities. So it's investing in continuous engagement and achievements and gamification, ways for communities to be more engaged and earn. So it's bringing, especially with COVID, we've kind of seen, a lot of the shopping experiences transition into online experiences. So how do you still drive people back into the locations, actual retail shops? So it's coming up with business models where it drives that engagement in a gamified way, where earning, it's engaged to earn, and you're earning these points, which convert into actual utilities and could be even currency in itself. So NFT collections on Twitter, NFT kind of revealed that enthusiasts as some of the most vocal and community-driven consumers. So that's where brand loyalty comes in. Brand loyalty and brand engagement. It provides a lot of insight into a brand's success. So why do you shop with that specific brand, or why do you use this specific software? What value does it add into, whether it's a global impact, social impact, or it's the value, how you relate personally to the brand in itself. So for example, I don't use any cosmetics that's animal, that's been tested on animals. So animal cruelty is a big part of my lifestyle. And those are some things that I'm cognizant about when I look at or select other brands. Other things as well, how does this brand provide some sort of an impact into the lives of others? So those are some things that communities are more vocal about, and they have now, brands can be as transparent into, hey, are you doing what you're saying you're doing? Also, your brand capture and control over resale. So again, that authenticity. Tether's co-founder predicted that all non-food items will have NFTs or digital twins in 10 years. And that's where I predict as well. And I do believe that digital transformation and mass adoption is going to take place, starting with the consumer space first. Brand experiences, an experience-centric economy. 84 billion is spent on marketing. So it's basically pre-pandemic, and of course traditional advertising is losing its edge. So these are all experimental. In marketing, you don't quite know the ROI behind it. So a lot of these ad spends that most brands do, well, ROI is in return on investment. Will this pay off? So this provides a more transparent brand engagement, and communities tend to, and if the Web3 space is all about community. So this provides that direct engagement where even community members could vote on, hey, what product do you really want to see in the next launch? You normally have buyers within, whether it's fashion or beauty industry and various others, that identify trends and what's upcoming, and that goes into Fashion Week and so on and so forth. But what if now your users are able to directly communicate with the brand and be able to share what they want to see, and how, what areas they want you, they value as part of your business model. So now businesses have a more direct way of really revamping their business model, or how they should engage with their end users. And of course, tying in real world assets, which ultimately will have more value. It's tracking authenticity and secure, transparent transactions. So it's a way to bridge Web2 users to transition into the Web3, and which thereby catalyzing mass adoption. Some of the brands currently using NFTs in 2023, of course, there's Starbucks, Prada, Gucci, Adidas, Louis Vuitton, Nike. There's so many. Based off of Masari, major brands have progressed from simple PFP launches to issuing Phygital collections. And in 2022, the trading volume for just fashion NFT sector was nearly $1.3 billion. The majority of which stemmed from the collaborative efforts from Nike And when you look at collaboration, this is a great way to really not only have your commerce space collaborate with just commerce, but at the same time, this means that tech merges with actual commerce and brands, and they're able to create this entire digital experience. So now different sectors and different industries are able to collaborate together and bring new, really evolved solutions. Adidas is a good example as well. Adidas launched NFT Artist. It's a fusion of digital and physical collaboration. And then Tiffany and Co is a great example. So you look at like what they did with CryptoPunks, creating a lot of the NFTs into their actual jewelry. So it's not just added revenue, but it's an entire new market that they were able to have that reach to. Why Phygital? Why do we need it? Well, the digital assets market, it kind of flattened for over a year. So companies are addressing this dip in customer interest. Well, when shaping the unique e-commerce journey, they tend to lean towards a digital to physical approach to boost sales. So it's adding new added revenue models and new business models to your current model for a not just a higher reach of your targeted consumers, but it's also boosts your sales in itself. So, and user engagement. So when you look at just kind of best volume companies, Tiffany & Co did 15.88 million on their launch. You look at Adidas, it was 7.5 million. So if you just kind of in general look at the revenue, it was 34.99 million. Well, the biggest spender spent 583,000. And as far as like the collections, it was over 3,000 collections. And of course, the digital to physical strategy, it has the most reach, right? So it's especially with collections during the bear market, robust financial involvement. So the way we put it is that when you have that physical product, let's say, for example, Gap Threads did the Gap hoodie, where you could own the digital NFT, but you also could redeem it for that specific hoodie. So now you've kind of look at other brands that have excelled in it. For example, when you look at Roblox or Fortnite, Call of Duty, other gaming industry, you're from your skins to the digital, as far as digital assets that's being used, digital fashion that you're purchasing. They've generated over $790 million in the last year. It's over $1 billion industry. Is what is expected to generate in revenue just this year alone. So when you take that into consideration, now you're tying in actual real world utilities, so a real world product attached to it, and how this will kind of transition in the future. Let's say your hoodie is worn out and you don't have it, own it anymore, but you still have that digital asset that continues to build value. You could trade it digitally. You could wear it in your avatar in the future. I think as it kind of goes into that digital experiences, you'll be able to have various of these assets and create this entire environment. You look at like even the real estate space. If you have an actual real estate, now you could kind of on a website view a property in a 3D model. But let's say you actually created in more of a metaverse or AR, VR experience, that furniture that you buy, it's a couch. You could now have it as a digital asset and be able to place it in your creating an entire digital twin of your home in a digital version. So being able to engage and walk through and stage it the way you want, and creating that asset becomes valuable in a digital virtual space as well. So what is MBD doing to kind of lead the way in this space? So we are getting ready to relaunch, and we'll be launching what we call MBD Boulevard. And what it is a cross-chain AI NFT Phygital marketplace with an aggregator and analytics. Why are we doing this, and what is it? Well, some of the challenges that I've found is a huge barrier to entry, even for the NFT world. So, speaking to a lot of NFT project founders, some of the challenges are that it's a very fragmented space. So, whether you're an NFT project owner or you come from the Web2 space, especially commerce, there's a lot of tools that you really require in order to make your business successful. So, from bookkeeping to analytics to marketing tools and to see the trends and have that information in your hand to be able to make those important business decisions matter. So in the Web3 space, it's kind of a little bit still the wild, wild west. So it becomes very costly. Airdropping to your community is a separate platform, which requires a subscription model. Analytics is a separate platform, which requires a subscription model. Then you have your costs associated with it. Well, who do I even, I'm not very familiar, but I want to transition into this space. Now I have to find an NFT designer. How do I create it? What chains? What type of business model should I create? And how do I engage with various social media platforms? Do I go with Telegram? Do I go with Twitter? Do I stream it on Twitch? How do I enter this space? It's overwhelming. So what we've decided to do was solve some of the simplified problems. Create a platform where it ties in all of the solution under one platform in a very simplified way. All of you as a business are simply able to transition into this space through simplified, one-step, easy solution that are accessible, that's affordable, and that's autonomous. So tying in AI solutions integrated within it, from bookkeeping to your analytics to being able to figure out how you want to pay out your vendors or how do you move money from crypto to fiat, your regulations, as well as creating these NFTs and being able to launch a digital twin launch in a store. So there comes what we call our marketplace. So some of the features that we're going to be focusing on is aggregator, which provides all of your data. So you don't necessarily, it's not just the NFTs minted on our platform, but users are able to purchase from anywhere, whether it's an OpenSea, Rarible, or any other platform, and see some of the top movers and shakers in the space as well. Being able to create a AI-powered all-in-one platform where users are also able to not just monetize ideas and their talents through NFTs, but it's providing a cost-effective way as well. So whether you are a retailer or a content creator or a artist, it's a platform for anyone to simply and easily transition into a Web3 space. Creating a cross-chain interoperability, so anyone can interact with multiple chains from back end, but it's a seamless user experience, offering flexibility, access to a wider user base. It also allows brands to mint, buy, sell, trade NFTs across different blockchains, network, reducing a lot of the restrictions. AI integration. It's quite important because that simplifies a lot of the processes. So automate processes such as price estimation for NFT listings. Hey, what is the typical pricing for something like this? Making the marketplace more efficient. Analytics, providing valuable insights into customer behavior and market trends in the Web3 space as well as Web2. It helps brands really tailor their offerings and strategies for impact. The bookkeeping, like I mentioned, of course, transactions, which helps businesses manage their finances and track revenues, and of course, regulatory compliances. And then marketing tools that assist brands in designing and executing targeted campaigns and improving their reach, whether it's in Web2 or Web3. And that's where a lot of the AI integration will come in as well, really giving you a lot of the analytics as far as, this was your campaign previously and how it performed, and which allows you to make a lot of these decisions in itself. And of course, unified payment solutions, so cross-chain payment solutions. So your brands can accept any form of payment from crypto to fiat and be able to engage and transfer very seamlessly. Some of the experiences I kind of want to show you, like as far as, providing early accesses, and that's what you call the token gated community, where each NFT gives you access to a certain type of membership. So when you look at, for example, in the airlines industry, if you are a silver or a ruby or Sapphire member, it gives you access to various features. So that's kind of what it provides. It's whether it's early access or access to various events or different communities that will seamlessly give you access through by holding that NFT in your wallet. So I want to show you how it's tied into real world assets and visually, as I kind of mentioned. So when you look at creation and how it's being built, those chairs or that art that you purchased in a digital created home, that could be placed into that virtual environment that adds that added value. So if, let's say, for example, for realtors in the real estate sale space, this gives more of a direct engagement and shows the value behind as far as some of the upgrades that have been created and how if people are able to engage in the buying and selling process as well. So it comes with also some of the customized furnitures and builders and creators that are creating a lot of this for a higher and larger reach. So when you look at digital spaces for a large type of real estate industry, you look at, how the environment's also created. And that goes into travel industry as well. So creating a lot of these will give people are able to now experience hotels, or you look at Airbnb, instead of just pictures, being able to digitally experience what the experience would be in a home, as far as like where it is and what the environment kind of looks like and feels like. So it provides you with more of a tangible experience at the same time as well. So this is, for example, this is giving you a very good example of what a digital experience could be like, even for builders and models, and engaging in the future in more of a metaverse space. So providing, demos or products. So you're a manufacturer of appliances, and being able to kind of show how it works in that digital experienced way, and making it accessibility agnostic at the same time. So this is the most exciting part. Well, how does MBD play a role in this? And like I mentioned, creating a one-stop shop for brands and consumers to be able to have a seamless experience. Our UI is going to change a bit, but this is an example of what we've been working on and how it kind of comes together. So as you look through seamless, looking at your portfolio, what your items are, collections, offers made, and listings. So this is from a user perspective, but you'll be able to create and add to your inventory. But an aggregator gives you a lot of this information on where NFT is, what the top offers are, where it's located, for example, OpenSea, being able to make offers and such, and the utilities behind it. So next, if we really start looking at, some of the other ones, so I'll go through this one, Panda, when you kind of look at, what the floor price is, activity as well, where it was sold and what it provides, being able to make those offers at the same time. And then as you kind of go in, it provides within those activities, you're able to see it. That's where the transparency comes in from and to, and when it was traded and more information. So from audio collection to charity to NFT videos, this will provide content creators a platform and transparency as well. We'll tie in a reward model as well. This provides the dashboard, so the analytics from a back-end perspective for a business. So let's say you're a pharmacist or anyone else, it provides a lot of your 7-day volume, 30-day, your total collection. And this goes also into the form of payment that you're taking in as well. So if you look, for example, minting, whether it's an actual Web2 product or Web3, you're able to track all of that data, as well as volume by sales. So whether it's shoes, clothing, missile accessories, it's able to provide you a lot of that data that you could work with. And with the AI, it's going to give you a lot of that information to make a lot of those business decisions that you need to make. We'll also integrate escrow, which provides that seamless security aspect from buyer to seller, even for secondary sales and resales. We'll also integrate a real estate platform. So whether it's digital real estate, and then eventually we'll work into real world assets as well. But being able to offer a lot of this with where the locations are and how you're being interacted. So creating digital twins of even rentable NFTs. So it's a version of, like I said, if you want to rent your space and do it in a form of an NFT, you're able to provide that seamless interaction. Of course, protocol information, which will get integrated. So from rentable NFTs to fragmented NFTs to interchangeable, there will be various NFTs. And for brands, content creation, I think that's really important for someone launching in the space. There are very many content creation platforms, but having all-in-one platform from creation to launch is one of the solutions that I think would add a tremendous value into this space. So for example, like AI, of course, from social media, creating website content, as well as any type of verbiage that you may need, to creating digital twins of those products and solutions as well. And when you look at, for example, some of the templates that we've kind of also created, you're able to upload documents, and part of the templates, we're adding in more Web3 templates. It's creating the utility, suggesting utility for you. And it'll continue to learn a lot of that data that's provided through the analytics, what type of products you're selling, what your business model is, and give you the proper information based off of that. We also have our Hey May chatbot and various others that are specialists, but Hey May learns, becomes your personal assistant. So I like to say kind of like the Hey Alexa or Hey Siri of the metaverse of MBD districts. So providing with, as it learns, as you interact with a voice to text, as well as text to voice, and various solutions such as that. One of our main focus also is the affordability aspect. So not making it overly priced, creating a simplified, a less easy to transition into the space type of pricing model, where it breaks down a lot of the barrier to entry. So this is a little bit in regards to what we are creating, and of course what we're kind of working with, and being able to kind of transition into the space. So we're super excited to be able to share with you, and we're looking forward to learning more and sharing where we kind of start and continuing this journey with everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, guys.